Cincinnati. So we're gonna go over to Cincinnati. If you didn't watch the video, see, I got stuff going on. If you didn't watch the video that I made already, where I broke down the actual brawl, where they say it started with a slap, where the Russian dude slapped the black guy, and then him and his friends started jumping on the Russian people. So go and watch that. I'm not going to show any more of the video. We're going to get into some of the stuff that's happening with the suspects. The first thing we're going to get into is, so after that incident, the residents held a safety meeting. So they had a safety meeting because they were concerned. So with the chief of police, so we'll get right over into that. And we got some councilwomen making comments that everybody's upset about. So we'll get into all of that and see what it's talking about. But yeah, let's get right into that stuff and see what we're talking about.
Leaders took part in a public safety forum tonight where the brawl was addressed. They spoke about how they're responding to crime and how they're collaborating to prevent something like this from ever happening again. Allie Henner joins us live. She has that angle of today's big story. And you were at that meeting. You just said it was packed, right?
Yeah, Rob, it was standing room only. People were even waiting outside to see if they could maybe find a seat halfway into the meeting. Now, we do know that Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Thigi was in attendance along with City Manager Cheryl Long and the President and CEO of the 3 CDC. Now, Mayor Puraval also made a brief statement via video call. And a lot of citizens had a lot of questions during this, and a lot of them were answered. But I spoke with many Cincinnati residents after this forum. They say the brawl that has now gone viral is at top of mind, and they still have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns.
Yeah, it was. No matter what they say, that was hard to watch. I don't care what they say. To me, it was hard to actually, because you got to go watch it on Twitter or something like that, but you can't show it on YouTube. But it's intense. It didn't look good. Some of that stuff, like it can be considered attempted murder. So what they was doing then, that was crazy. But let's get right up. Let's keep going into what they was talking about.
After this forum, they say the brawl that has now gone viral is at top of mind, and they still have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns.
Let me be clear, crystal clear. That was a violent encounter. It makes me sick to watch it over and over again on national news, especially.
Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Thigi again addressing the violent fight, now garnering national attention.
I will not tolerate lawlessness on the streets of Cincinnati. I owe it to you, as people who live and work here, to get the lawlessness under control.
City leaders and citizens filled this room
Did she
at the
say
downtown
she wants
public library to
them to get
the lawlessness. I owe it to you,
as
people who live and work here, to get the lawlessness under control.
City leaders and citizens filled this room at the downtown public library Tuesday night for a forum about public safety. Some raising concerns after that brawl.
Enough's enough. We got to get this under control because, I mean, no matter what caused that, that fight, it's grotesque. I've never seen that woman. I thought she was dead.
Yeah. Thigi also said they're conducting a fair investigation.
I know there are many out there who are waiting for me to make a statement from this side denouncing some participants' behavior in that activity.
Yeah, yes, I will say, because exactly, the Russian dude did slap him. So yes, he needs to be arrested for assault. So I don't know why they haven't arrested them yet. I guess assuming they don't want to press the charges on him, which, yeah, at the end of the day, he did assault him by slapping him in the face. So that is absolutely crazy. But I don't know why they haven't arrested them yet, but in general, it was very hard to watch. Very hard to watch.
And I know there's some on this side that are waiting for me to denounce the other half of that fight's participation in that activity. Here's where I have to operate, folks. I have to operate in the neutral zone as the facts are being gathered by the investigators.
The forum included a moderated Q&A where questions were submitted. One of those questions, were there any 911 or 311 calls for noise or disorderly conduct during the violent incident?
The incident that took place at 4th and Elm, there was one call to police for an assault report. There was another call that was not to the police, that was a medical run for the fire department.
Chief Thigi shared data specific to the central business section where aggravated assault is up 43.8% and robbery is up 50%.
We acknowledge that, we own that. And that's why we are putting strategies together to combat that.
Those strategies mentioned include the Street Crime Task Force, Roving Task Force, curfew ordinance changes, and the drone program.
Well, this forum was hosted by the Downtown Residents Council, and we do want to note, before this forum even began, a man was actually kicked out for disorderly behavior, and then in the middle of this forum, during the Q&A portion, a female was kicked out again for disorderly behavior. Now, Chief Thigi says the investigation into this violent brawl is ongoing, and we, of course, will be following it very closely, and we'll bring you anything as soon as we know it. For now.
All right, so like they said, they had that. People were concerned about it. So now we're going to get over into, seems like some higher ups are saying that stuff needs to happen now. So let's get over into that video.
So the FBI and the Justice Department are launching an investigation into that brutal Cincinnati assault that went viral over the weekend. 3 suspects now facing multiple charges such as assault, aggravated rioting, while 2 others have also been charged but not yet arrested. Meanwhile, a local councilwoman named Victoria Parks is facing.
They begged for the beat down. I am grateful for the whole story. Yes, I will say that you can't. However, what happened, it seems to me that the Russian people started the fight. I will say that. But I think you need to know when to stop. Yes, you can't control how other people react, but I feel like there should be a time to stop. If someone is on the ground begging for mercy, I don't think, that's just my opinion, how I was raised. If someone's on the ground begging for mercy, because I've already done the beatdown, there's no need to keep hitting and stomping and kick them in the head. I also don't like jump ins. I don't like jump ins. Now, if the Russians would have jumped on the people and then they jumped, that's totally different. I like the one-on-one fights. Let's have one-on-one fights. And then at the end of the day, that girl, it didn't look like that she was trying to swing at nobody. It seemed like she was just trying to stop people from keep hitting it. And then the man out of nowhere sucker punched her in the head and made her head hit the ground so hard I thought she died. That's what I initially thought, and all I saw was blood coming out of her nose. That scared me. I was like, nah, that's too much. Come on, now that was too much. Now I might be wrong. You might have a different opinion from me. You might think I'm wrong on this, but that was just how I felt. It's just yes, they started the fight, and they need to be charged for starting that assault, but I think it was taken too far. Well, yes, we are always entitled to our opinion. Yes, I understand. You do need to keep your hands to yourself. But like I said, once the fight's over, the fight's over. That's at least what I think. But let's keep going in to see what these people was talking about.
Backlash over her comments on the victim, saying, quote, they begged for that beatdown, adding, I am grateful for the whole story. Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno sits on the Homeland Security Committee and obviously represents that state. Senator, thanks so much for joining the program this morning.
Well, thank you for covering the story. It's been absent from the national news, so I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about this heinous situation.
Well, Senator, we're covering this story, although we don't know all the facts of the case, and there's an investigation underway because it's a part of a larger trend, a lack of law and order, the fact that there's this mob, even if someone hits you first, how you respond with an entire mob, that just isn't the way we do things in a civilized society, right?
No, absolutely. And by the way, Holly, which is one of the victims, I actually, when I saw
See, that is also my opinion. I don't think Yeah, like someone hits you first, yes, you are allowed to respond through. Hey, you got to respond through violence if someone hits you. I understand that, but there's no need to gang fight. If they weren't trying to gang fight, we don't know what would have happened. But just from the videos we've seen, the first thing that happened was the black people, our people, jumped on them first. They started to immediately gang up on them. I don't know if that just doesn't seem right to me. I would rather if the black guy and the Russian guy who actually was fighting started swinging, then yeah, then that's totally. Then if someone tried to jump in, yes, it's all right to jump in. But I don't believe in jumping. I don't believe in jumping like that.
The video thought she had been killed. I posted pictures with her permission yesterday of what happened to her. This is a middle-aged woman that was going out for a nice time with some friends. This is how she ended up. I mean, these pictures are so graphic, so horrible, that I wanted people to see this is what political leaders in Cincinnati are allowing. Cincinnati is an amazing city, made by great people over decades, centuries actually. It's one of the shining jewels of Ohio. And these idiotic political leaders that the citizens allow to have office need to go. I'm going to call on all federal agencies to review the funding that we provide Cincinnati. And I'm giving the leaders of Cincinnati 1 month to come up with a plan for them to protect civil rights for their citizens. And if they don't do it, Lawrence, I'm going to ask these agencies to suspend all federal funding because we're not going to put up with this. They're down 200 police officers. The police chief blames social media. The city council person blamed the victim. The mayor went to a misfit mayor's conference and then took a vacation to Canada. Hasn't been back in town since then. This is a total travesty. I'm not going to put up with it. Ohio deserves better, and Cincinnati certainly does too.
Senator, I believe that most citizens are good. You got people that act the fool, but most citizens want law and order in their town. So the funding, you're correct, that is one element to this story. But what about conservative ideas that believe in law and order being brought to that city to actually win? Because the problem is Democrats are running these towns.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Look, we have to have a wholesale change. That's why I want to highlight this. Look, these elected leaders want destruction. They want less policing. They want lawless society because they want to destroy America. I know it seems to some of your viewers that maybe that's too hyperbolic. It's not, Lawrence. They have a dark view of America. Look, they honestly care more about foreign countries.
Now, we're going to skip on past this because they're going to get into more political, and we're not trying to talk. We just want to talk about what the facts were, So let's jump over into this next video we got for this.
Well, it is being called a coordinated attack and kind of like an ambush. That is what happened in Cincinnati, a detective describing last weekend's violent street brawl. 3 of those suspects appeared in court yesterday on charges of felony assault and aggravated riot. Nate Foy is live from New York City with the latest on this story. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Aisha, for the first time, we're seeing...
Now, like, I agree with the charges. It's understandable, fella. But like I said, I believe the Russians should be charged as well. Everybody gets assault because it's assault when it's no longer a threat. Yes, at first it could have been self-defense, yes. But after it goes too far, it becomes assault when it's no longer a threat. And then it's the riot is because it was basically a gang fight. People started jumping in, but yeah, like I said, tell me your thoughts. Do you agree with the charges, or do you like me? You think the Russians should be charged too? Do you think that only the Russians should be charged and all the black people who jumped on them should be set free? But yeah, tell me your thoughts. Let's keep going into this video though.
Pictures of the injured female victim after she got sucker punched in the face during that brawl. And Senator Bernie Moreno describes her as Holly. He says that she gave him permission to share the following pictures that you're about to see. And I warn you, they are disturbing. So take a look here.
God.
Holly's recovering from a concussion and various...
That was the one hit the guy did to her face. Jesus.
Facial injuries. Senator Moreno said he thought Holly was dead when he first saw the video. Now take another look here. She gets knocked out by a man in the middle of the fight. What started the fight is still unknown, but Cincinnati Councilwoman Victoria Parks appeared to blame the victims, commenting on a Facebook video, quote, "They begged for that beatdown. I am grateful for the whole story." Now, we've reached out to the councilwoman for comment. So far, she hasn't responded, but according to local reports, she stands by those comments. Video circulating online shows the white man slapping a black man before the brawl, but Senator Marino says Cincinnati leadership deserves blame.
They're down 200 police officers. The police chief blames social media. Total travesty.
So 3 of the 5 suspects, as you mentioned, Aisha, appeared in court yesterday. They're charged with assault and aggravated rioting. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced last night that state troopers will provide support for Cincinnati police. Now, 2 of the 5 suspects charged for that brawl still have not been arrested. We'll send it back to you, Aisha.
Okay.
All right. So now, last video we're going to look at, it seems like one of them has already been, has already just been released on bond.
The sports world now. ESPN confirming to end.
Wait, wrong video. We'll get into that later. Well, let's get over into this last video for this. It looks like they was just released on bond.
In New York, more fallout from last week's viral street brawl in Cincinnati. The mayor and other city leaders facing heavy heat for their reaction to the incident and their handling of policing in general. The mayor's been on a vacation all week, and that's about to change. I want to bring in Nate Foy for the latest on this. Nate, hello.
Hey, Bill. So, yeah, Cincinnati Mayor Aftab Pureval is expected to finally answer some questions in a news conference that's being reported by local media today. And as you mentioned, he's been on vacation in Canada all week. So a lot of people say that it is about time that he answers some questions. Meanwhile, one of the men who police say punched and stomped on a victim has reportedly posted his $270,000 bond. Jermaine Matthews will have to wear an ankle monitor and surrender any guns as a condition of his release. Now, his case will go to a grand jury for indictment next week. He's one of 5 suspects facing charges. Matthews appeared in court yesterday to face 2 new counts of felonious assault and 1 count for misdemeanor assault. He posted bond shortly after. Detectives say Matthews and another suspect ambushed the victims before attacking them. But Cincinnati Councilwoman Victoria Parks appeared to blame the victims in a Facebook post, writing, quote,
So, yep, they're still going to be talking about that. How she blamed them. Nobody.
And there is such thing as inappropriate actions, and there are consequences to actions. And that is what my post meant. I warn you, Bill, telling a local affiliate, quote, "Nobody deserves a beating, but there is such thing as inappropriate actions, and there are consequences to actions." And that is what my post meant.
She is 100% correct. There are consequences to actions. There are always consequences to the actions you take. So yes, him getting hit and punched is the consequence of him putting his hands on somebody else. Yes. But I think it is, but I do believe that it is us to decide on how far we take it. How far we take it. Because I would hate for him slapping you to you end up you catching a body or becoming a murderer because he slapped you. You can't take it too far. That is my point. There's no reason to take it too far. Now, if you feel like that him slapping him wanted to, no matter what you do to him, because some of those things could have killed him. Let's be honest. Some of those things could have easily killed him. Especially the girl too, how she hit her head on that table. Not table. How she hit her head on the floor, the pavement. People could have died. I don't think we just need to understand how far to take things. Now, like I said, let me know your thoughts.
I warn you, these pictures you're about to see are graphic. Ohio Senator Bernie Marino says one of the victims, who he names as Holly, he's been to the hospital several times over the past week. Marino is now threatening to pull federal funds if Cincinnati leaders don't come up with a plan to protect the civil rights of their citizens.
Absolutely crazy. It's a crazy scene in general. A crazy scene in general. But like I said, tell me your thoughts. If If you think so, do you think that the charges are warranted? Do you think that the Russians should be charged like I do? I think everybody needs to be charged. I don't think anybody should get off. That's just my thoughts. But like I said, tell me your thoughts. But all right, everybody, remember this is AC Reviews the Word. Remember to like and subscribe.